Hello everybody. Well, today we are back and we are actually gonna look at the drawing that we worked on yesterday. We're going to go a little bit further with it, see what we can actually do with it, and hopefully it should be fun. So before we get started, remember, go over to INDIEGOGO, get on our mailing list, sign up, get them perks day one, and a couple other little goodies like the movie. We sent that out in the mail list when we put it up, so y'all knew about it first. So get on there and check it out. All right. So yesterday we played around with this a little bit and got to basically a thumbnail sketch that I thought was interesting. Let me go ahead and take a drink here right quick. We had to cut it a little short yesterday because I was starting to lose my voice, and I had to go on Sweetcast yesterday, and I wanted to make sure I had my voice for Sweetcast. It was a great time. I really enjoyed it. Thanks a lot, Clint, for having us on, and we look forward to being on again. It was a good time. So, like I said yesterday, I was going to go ahead and take this drawing and cut it up a little bit. So what I'm going to show you here is I've cut it up into a few layers. So we got the foreground, we got the elephant, got the medium ground, and the extreme background. So most likely what we're going to start doing today is we're going to work on that background and the middle ground, and probably not too much on the foreground. We'll just see where we end up getting to. Hello to everyone out there, if you're out there watching. Hello all. Looks like we got Black Star in the chat. Thanks a lot, Black Star, for showing up. Appreciate that. And yeah, let's kind of jump into this. I'm gonna get rid of a couple little layers here and just work on this bit. And what I'm gonna do is, since I've broken up the two background areas, I'm actually going to put them into one, but I'll be able to use those elements to actually cut away our stuff later. So we'll use that as a reference. But I want to work on both of these together, and the reason why is because, you know, that's our, you kind of want to work on the entire picture all at once. I know for a lot of people out there doing comic books, you actually like to draw on individual little things, but when you're working on a piece, you should actually work on the whole piece all at once. You know, work on your arrangement in your piece, your composition, work on the color, shading, you know, all of those things all at once. And you want to kind of, especially when you're doing concept art like this, but you want to start from, excuse me, you want to start from just nothing and then build everything up all at once. So that's basically what we're going to do right here. And the reason why I put that one all as one in the background is so we can actually work on all of it. So we're going to actually try and get some buildings in here, and we're going to try and do some landscaping as well. So let's go ahead and get a brush. I think I'm going to do this first here. Actually, let's I'm going to do this before I actually make a layer. Oops. All right. So let me just get on this background, and I want to separate this extreme background from the rest of the foreground. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to use a little bit of a brush there to kind of get that separation, right? And then I'm going to go on this middle ground, and I'm going to lock the layer here so I only paint actually on top of the layer. That's something that you should definitely know about. So there we go. There. I've separated it, that extreme background from the middle ground, and then I'm going to go ahead and put those together there. That looks pretty good. All right, now we can actually merge those two layers. Go ahead and merge it, and then we'll turn those other layers off so we ain't messing around with that. Okay, now we can actually work on the whole thing. Alrighty. So again, we want to go back and look at our reference material here. Reference material, these buildings, really important because this is what we're drawing our inspiration from, right? So we have the buildings, and then we also have where this is actually taking place. Again, this is Switzerland. Some beautiful mountains, some lush greenery in front of the mountains. That's exactly what we want. We want that contrast we want a nice contrast between the environment. You got that stark background, and then you also have that really nice lush foreground. And what I want to do is actually start getting an idea of buildings in here. So let's go and get just a regular old drawing brush here. Again, doesn't have to be anything too fancy. And what I like to do is I actually like to pick colors and stuff from the actual piece itself. Like you just toggle on your eyedropper there, and you pick the shades that you want to work with. So I'll do that a lot when I'm actually working on a piece, especially once I start putting down color, because then you can actually pull the color from the piece into what you want. I'm actually gonna, just so I can make this elephant look a little, there we go. Let's get it standing out right there in front, because that's how it's actually gonna look when it's finished, because it's a lot further in the, that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead, merge those layers. There we go. Okay, and remember we also have our horizon line here, so we're going to be working with that. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start going in here and putting in some buildings. Let's make that a little bit darker. We can always go lighter with it. And I'm just trying to get an idea of buildings. Black Star asks, how many images do you pick from? Thousands on the internet? Well, you got to have just an idea of what you want in your head, and then maybe get like however many you need, but just get maybe a dozen images and go from there. That would be the best thing to do. All right, so we're just gonna put in here so that there's some buildings, and again, we're going back and we're looking at the buildings here that we're drawing from. There we go. Yeah. And you want to kind of play around with the sizing and stuff of your brush to help you get a little different texturing and stuff in there. And maybe there's some buildings back here. I'll use something a little bigger here. Yeah, there we go. It's a little better. Maybe there's something hanging off the cliff. And then as we get a little more further into it, maybe what we'll do is, yeah, there's some more, you know, this valley kind of goes through here. This. That'd be kind of nice. You know, and just think of blocking in shapes, you know. All you're doing right now is you're just blocking in shapes, trying to feel the environment. And I haven't actually warmed up this morning, so this is my warm-up. It's always good to warm up, but we're just going to go straight into it with this today. There we go. Make sure you change some stuff up. And I'm actually going to go into my brush settings and get a little more spacing in there so I get a little more texture and play with what I'm doing here. Let's see here. Oh yeah, so that's a little, especially since I'm just kind of dealing with the with what's going on here. Got these little hills and whatnot. Thanks for manning the defenses there, old Skits comic, in the chat. Appreciate that. So maybe there's some buildings in here. Let's go back and look at our reference material again. Something that I think is really interesting over there is like these big gates or praying temple things. I'm not actually sure what in the heck those things are, but they're kind of cool. So we might integrate something like that into this piece as well. Maybe something in the background over here. Maybe there's like a big arch here. Yeah, hold on a sec. Let's make this a little smaller. Maybe there's like a giant arch up here. Let's go back and look at that. Okay, that's kind of interesting. So maybe it's just something like that, right? There's one of them giant arches back there on the horizon. Kind of like those things. First films, hello all. How does the color affect what you want? Do you say I want black and white or color? Well, right now, to make this a little easier for people, we're just going to do black and white. We'll do this one black and white, and once we get a nice black and white piece down, then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll move over to color. And once you get really good at this, you can actually do black, white, and color. You know, go straight to color at the beginning. But I just want to show people something a little more easier right now. I just want them to kind of go, oh, okay, yeah, we can just kind of do black and white, and then maybe later in later tutorials we'll actually show some more color stuff where you go straight into color. All right, so let's kind of work along here a little more. And if you're out there listening right now, go ahead and say something in the chat if you want to ask some questions. Don't be afraid. I'll answer anything to the best of my ability. And excuse me for coughing and clearing my throat. I was actually sick. I got sick on Christmas Day, and man, it just kept getting worse and worse from there. don't know what happened. And I'm still kind of trying to get over it, you know. It's just the way it is sometimes. Some temple stuff right there. All right, so this hill here is a little closer. So maybe what we'll do is, excuse me, let me get a drink right quick. So this hill right here is actually in front of all this stuff. So what we're going to do here is we're going to maybe start doing stuff a little bit bigger here. You know, maybe there's a bigger temple where I started this over here. These temples are kind of, it's kind of like a temple, and it's kind of like a building. I'm not quite sure. I don't know much about the Asian culture to actually be able to speak intelligently about it. So, and probably something you should look into if you're going to really get into it. And again, all this stuff is kind of in the mid-ground, so I'm just using a mid-color brush, you know, black and white. Just a mid-tone, mid-gray. And that's really all you need. But let's just block some stuff in. And there's some other buildings. Let's see what else we got here. Kind of like these temples here with the trees on it. I'm not going to put the trees on it, but I still kind of like the temple bits of it. So maybe we'll have something where just get a little bit darker there so I can draw it out. It's got the and of course, remember, because this building is below the horizon line, you're going to see the top of the building. Where everything above the horizon line, you're going to get that little edge underneath the building, where you get a little bit of a shadow and you see underneath it a little bit. Because the horizon line is actually the person who's viewing this image, which is y'all right now online. Y'all are actually viewing this, and this is exactly where your eye level is. So everything above your eye level, you see a little bit of underneath, and everything below, you see a little bit of top. And depending upon how far away from the horizon line you are, is actually how much of the top or how much underneath you're actually going to be seeing. We got some buildings over here. And one thing that you'll see people online do who do this sort of stuff, like Feng Zhu Design is actually really good at doing this sort of stuff. But if you actually go and look at some of his stuff, he works very fast, but that's because he's been doing it for a long time. Now, when you first get started, you don't want to really be doing these fast. You'd rather be clean and accurate than fast. That'd probably be your best bet. You know, you just want to take your time and pay attention to what you're doing when you're first starting out doing this sort of thing. So that's, and he'll even tell you that in his tutorials. You know, he's been working in the movie and video game business for years. So it's always good to go over there and check out some of the stuff that he's doing. Maybe there's a little path. A little path here coming around. Maybe there's some stuff along the path. Now, something you can do if you want to have straight lines while you're painting like this in Photoshop is you can hold your shift bar and it'll either go up and down or left and right. You get your perfect angles there if that's something you're looking for. Just, you know, once you're on Photoshop for as long as I've been, you'll you eventually just learn all the quick keys. I've been on Photoshop since version 2, which might have been, excuse me, that might have been 90, 89, somewhere around there. I can't quite remember. But it's been a while. It's been a while for sure. Yeah, let's just kind of, there we go. Yeah. Work on some of those back here. Gotta always remember to check your tangents, you know, where some of the stuff is happening. Or maybe we need to start getting some, yeah, see, I don't like right there where the trunk is meeting this, so what I'll do is I'll just make it go below. That's the best thing to do there. That way you don't have a tangent, you know, two lines meeting and going kind of in the same direction. I want to kind of stay away from that. Let's beat up some of that edge there. Now, for all y'all that are just tuning in right now, go ahead and get on the mailing list. Go over to Indiegogo. Link is in the description. Go get on the Indiegogo mailing list, so when Skits actually goes live in the spring, you'll know exactly when it goes live. That'll be a lot of fun. Now, the main reason why I'm worried about this area over here is because this is actually what you're going to be seeing. You're going to be seeing, I'm going to pull back some of the characters here a little bit, and I'll draw it in nice and detailed, but that's where a lot of your visual is actually going to be. So I'm kind of focusing on that right now. But something I also need to focus on is these mountains and stuff back here. The mountains are fun to draw. Like, you can do all sorts of stuff with that. Let's, yeah, there we go. So let's get into some of this here. And maybe once we get this a little more information in here, what we'll do is we'll go in here and maybe there's some big old ruin here. I think that's something that we need to kind of mess with. Maybe this is like some, you know, I don't want to give away too much of the book quite yet, but there is technology in this planet that we're working on. And maybe what we need to do is kind of work in some of that where it's like all broken down and beat up. Well, we got a few people watching here. Again, if you're just tuning in, if you want to ask me any questions, feel free to. You know, we're just doing some concept art drawing right now, and you know, we're just having some fun with that. We did the first one yesterday, and that turned out pretty good. The video wasn't that good, so what we did is we ended up switching over to cell phone. We're going through the cell phone now, so this ought to be kind of interesting to see what happens. I've heard that it looks a little bit better, so that's a bonus. I wasn't too pleased with it. If we can't end up having it look too good, then we may end up having to just do these live or record them here at the studio and then push them out like we do some of the other stuff. But I'd rather do it live with y'all, so if we get some good interaction, that'll be nice. What do we got here? Let me pick some of this. Now you should be able to make a beautiful piece just with black and white, as most of you comic book people out there know. So don't worry too much about getting into color. Like I said, we'll get into color in a little while. We'll make that something, you know, that you'll want to kind of tune in for. But right now we just want to get it black and white. Now, something that we haven't done yet, and what I think we'll do is we'll do it on our horizon line level, is we're actually going to figure out where the light's coming from, because I'm getting to that point where we've got a bunch of stuff going on, and I think it's just kind of get a little bit of red here. I think we're going to have, oh, that's why I can't do red. Just do it black. Darker than that. We're going to have our light coming from there. So that'll work just fine. We'll have our light coming in from that direction right there. All right. Let's get back to our layer here. Something you also want to do is, it really helps if you're in a stuck spot to flip your artboard. You know, just go in there and flip it horizontally. You know, do the edit, transform, flip horizontal. And you can flip things and stuff, so you can actually look at it and see how it's going to look. What we'll do is we'll highlight a couple layers, the ones that we're actually working on, and see what it looks like. You know, you can flip it and you can keep working on it and say, do I see any weird things going on? Maybe I need to work on this. Maybe I need to work on that. So anyway, don't be afraid to flip it and get a different perspective on things, you know. Darker there. Get the headphones in my way here. Yeah, starting to look pretty good. Go back and again, you know, just let your eye tell you where you want to work. You know, and since this side of the mountain here is probably going to be in shade because we got our light coming in from this way, so a lot of this will end up being in the shade. Let's get something a little lighter. Yeah, that'd be fine. Be like that, and then maybe the light will come in along here. And if you ever look at mountains, you know, I grew up in Florida. There wasn't a lot of mountains to look at when you were a kid, but once you actually start to travel and you go and you look at mountains, something that you'll notice that's really, really cool is that the lighting, if you have layers of mountains, you'll have a peak, a ridge, and then right behind it will be really light, and whatever's in front will be dark, and then you'll get a gradation up the mountain to where it's actually starting to, you know, get a little darker as it goes up. And what that is there's a lot of atmosphere right in there. You got water, you got dirt floating around, and it's actually causing that differentiation there. And it's just really, really cool. Something cool to look at. You know, if you've never experienced that, it's definitely something to go take a look at. Ollie656, hey, thanks for stopping in. Really appreciate it, Ollie. You know, if you got some questions, go ahead and pop them in the chat there, and I'll answer them for you. And again, we're just working on stuff. And over on this side, obviously, we got, if we go over to this other side here, the sun's going to be hitting these areas right here. of the mountain, you know. It's gonna be hitting all down in here. It's gonna be coming up from these areas. The sun's gonna be hitting that valley down in there. It's gonna be really pretty. And then we got to put in some shadow. Let's see here. You know, maybe there's the back side of this peak here. And maybe what we'll do is we'll cut some background into here. It doesn't, you know. There we go. We'll just put some more. Maybe we'll do something like that. That ain't too bad. But all this over here on this side of the mountain will be in shade, and then you got some areas like this that obviously have some underneaths and whatnot. There you go. This side of the mountain. But then when you get back over this side, the light's going to be coming in and hitting this side. So there you go. All right. There we go. Then you'll have all sorts of little bits here and there where I have, let me toggle the brush a little bit here. And I'm just using a basic round drawing brush with a little texture in it. It's something you can get with Photoshop. It's nothing special, you know. Don't worry about getting things that are too special. You know, just use something that you're comfortable with. I just like to use the brushes that come with Photoshop. You know, you can use one brush and do an entire painting, so you don't actually have to have anything too fancy. But once we get a little further into it, what I'll do is I'll actually get a few specialty brushes to show you some little tricks to save time. And this hill right here is probably going to have a little bit on it, but yeah, the light's still going to be coming in here. Let's see where we're. Okay, so we need to put some stuff over here. Maybe there's like one temple that people go to over here and pray. Let's doesn't have to be too fancy. Maybe there's just a sacred area with some sacred rocks or something. And then there's a trail that goes up the hill or something like that, up to it. Yeah, I don't really care for that. Don't be afraid to knock stuff out if you don't really like it, especially at this stage. You know, you're just trying to make something. I don't think this side really matters either, so we'll be all right. You know, it's good to, especially when you're first doing this sort of stuff, to kind of save your layers. And, you know, once you get to a certain spot, just go ahead and save it, and so you can have reference back to what you're doing. Pros, they don't tend to do that too much. What they do is they just kind of keep going with it, and you know, they can always come back and fix things later. Ain't too concerned. But I feel like we actually have gotten a lot done in the background right here. So maybe what we'll do is we'll take a quick little break. What do we got here? Got some people, Lasmat Films. Hey, Lasmat Films, thanks for stopping in. You stopped in yesterday. We had that little bongle, and we had to restart everything. So I appreciate you coming back and trying us out a second time. But everything seems to be working pretty good now. We just had a little issue yesterday. Excuse me. Gotta take a drink here. A little bit darker. But I think we've actually done quite a bit of work here now. Let's do that. These mountains are actually starting to look pretty cool. I love doing mountains and rocks and stuff like that. It's an easy way to put a lot of detail into your piece, you know. It's like it gives it gravitas, you know, distance, you know, world building. You know that something's actually there and something's going on, and you know, mountains and vast landscapes can actually do that for your pieces, and it's really just a treat to do it, to tell you the truth. If you can, you should really focus on doing this in your backgrounds for your comics. I think that's one of the things that gets overlooked the most is backgrounds. You know, because everyone wants to draw a really cool character. I mean, myself included, you know. It's like you want to do the best character you can. So, but sometimes it's just good to focus on some really nice backgrounds. You know, it can really sell a picture. It's like you don't always have to have the main character front and center and big and awesome. It's like there's times for that, but then there's also times to set a scene. You know, and that's basically what we're doing right here with this concept piece is we're setting a scene, right? So these mountains are looking pretty good. We got a little bit of action going on here in the front. So we got some temples, some homes, different stuff like that. You know, back here it's just you want to just sort of the idea of this stuff. Right? Where's this stuff taking place? And then you'll go back in later and really sell it. You know, throwing some details in, sell it, make it look really awesome. You know, there's some easy, quick ways to do that sort of thing. So we'll definitely show you some of that once we get to it. But for right now, yeah, I'm just gonna put some of these bits in here. Let me try and detail some of this stuff out right here. I try not to put anything right on the horizon line. You know, see this right here? I got this tangent going on, so probably what I'll do is I'll just kind of bring some of it out. Right? That'll be fine. And I got that light coming in from back there. I want to kind of pump it on those sides, you know. Make sure you get that in. And, you know, a lot of this is just, if anyone's familiar with traditional painting and drawing techniques, this is what they would call scubble. And it's like you just want to, you know, just kind of excuse me, I'm having a hard time saying that today. Just kind of scumbling your brush around and making marks, and then later on you'll actually turn it into something. Again, you know, it's just like we're just trying to make something happen right now. It's nothing too fancy. We're just trying to see what we can get going on out of this. You know, and then we'll go back in and try and figure out what it means. I already got an idea in my head because, you know, I keep going back to these images. It's like, okay, here's what I'm using. Here's my background information, you know, and we can actually use some of these photos later on to kind of drop some color and texture into it to help us out, to sell it a little bit better. So that'll be fun to do. Ollie656 says, awesome. Well, I appreciate that, man. Really, really appreciate it. Let me read some of the stuff going on in the chat right quick. Last Matt Films, what's up? We got. Can you draw me a getaway door? Okay. What are you trying to get away from? Nice. Getting shout outs. Love my cheapo drawing monitor. What type of cheapo drawing monitor do you have? Ollie656. It's interesting. Is it one of the, I can't remember the off brands that have gotten really big, but from people, now I use a Wacom myself, but I know that some of the off brand stuff that's coming out of China is actually really good lately. You know, some of those drawing tablets and whatnot. I haven't used them, you know, but you can get what would cost on a Wacom like $3 grand. You can get one of these off brands for like 1,000. I think it starts with an S, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to remember what that is. But anyway, it's nice whack-a-mole. There we go. Yeah, just put a little bit more on this edge here. Let's try and remember our light's coming in from this way, so let's put the shade on that side of things. At the same time, I gotta kind of punch out those areas to make the temples stand out, right? Maybe what we'll do is we'll have some mist. Get some mist going through back here behind it. That'd be kind of nice. Right. So one thing, I think maybe I'll have to take a little break here in a minute. You guys, sorry about that. But maybe I shouldn't be drinking so much while I'm doing a stream. Got my sweet tea here while I'm working. Might have to take a break here in a little bit, guys. Maybe we get to a nice spot where it's like, okay, yeah, we're starting to get a little bit back there. And again, this stuff that I've put here in the foreground, it's just a reference where it's like, okay, I know I want some stuff here in the foreground to kind of, you know, get some spiky things pointing towards the lady on the elephant. I'm really excited about this elephant. Maybe I'll work on this a little bit before we leave. Maybe just kind of put some, what I'm going to do is get a soft round and lock the layer so I only work on the actual layer itself there. And then we'll set it to maybe just darken. And since the light's coming from this side, what I'll do is I'll just kind of throw in some darks here. Ooh, it's a little too dark there. Yeah, I don't really like the way that's turning out. I'll just do a multiply. Or you know what? Even better, we'll just dodge it. You know? Dodge and burn. Oh. Let's dodge. Not dodge, burn. Cover. There we go. Oh, that one's really dark. Really dark. I need to get a little lighter. Well, that ain't gonna help me right now. Need to put the opacity down. Bring it back up a little bit. And you know, a lot of this stuff is just kind of playing around. There we go. Try to do it a little bit less. All right, now we've got something. Okay, so we'll go ahead and kind of darken up some of these areas here. Darken up the side of the face. Remember, we gotta pay attention to where our light's coming from. go back and do a dodge. Do a little bit of dodge in here. That's where some of the light's going to be coming from. All right. We'll go back in and draw over this a little bit more. It'll turn out looking a little better, I think. But for now, we're just trying to get, you know, an image in here that'll actually read. That's kind of fun. There we go. All right. I'm just going to go back to my regular brushes and sort of play around with it. This was the brush I was using before. You know, a little square charcoal-like brush. Actually, that's not what I was using. This one. Right. Let's do the spacing on it again. What do we got here? Okay. There we go. Throw in some of the lighter bits here. Yeah, because that sun's going to be coming in from the side and hitting her. Just start blocking some of this in. A little bit on the tusks. Light right in there. Some light. It's a Ollie 656. It's a Yenova. I forget the model. It's been good to me. That's good. Have you actually used a Wacom? How does it compare to the Wacom when you're actually putting down the pen and the response? And because that's always a big thing for me is the response. Let me know what if you've worked with both, what you think. You know, the response comparative to the Wacom. That's super important. I've actually looked at them a few times, maybe about a year or so ago, and thought about buying some of them. You know, just trying one out. Oh, get a little more stuff here. Start making that guy look pretty good. There's a little bit on the back here. Let's actually try and put some darks back in here. Yeah, this is looking pretty good. You know, maybe tomorrow, well, won't be tomorrow, but Thursday, I'll go live again, and we'll start working on some detail on the figure here in the foreground and the elephant. That'll be kind of exciting. Start doing some of that. Let's just do a little bit more here, and then yeah, there we go. Got a few people watching. That's good. Wasn't sure if people would actually come and watch this stuff, but I mean, there's a lot of people who teach this style of painting and drawing out there, and they charge a lot of money. So FYI, I'm giving you the same type of schooling here, and I don't charge anything for it. You can just come here, but I do ask you to get on the mailing list. You know, try and get on the mailing list. You know, if you're interested in what you're seeing here, when the book comes out on Indiegogo, you can actually maybe you can buy a copy. That's why we're doing this, get people interested in the comic. So go on in there, you know, check it out, see what you think. We'd appreciate it. and we'll see what happens here. This is looking pretty good here. I'm liking this. All right, let's zoom out. Yeah, I mean, you know, that's basically when you zoom out, you're squinting and you're looking at the overall um, contour and your black and whites and just seeing if it's reading. So, already signed up. Thanks a lot, Ollie. 656, man. That's great. Nothing compares to a Wacom, but these off-brand ones get the work done. Well, that's all that matters, as long as it gets the work done. Thing is, you'll be drawing on glass. Yeah, I use a cover from my Wacom, you know, a little plastic cover over the glass because I don't like the way the glass feels. So I use one of those covers that makes it, you know, it protects your glass, plus at the same time it makes it feel like you're drawing on paper. It's really, I love it. I wouldn't use them without it. I also have one for my iPad. I think that's really important. But I really appreciate you checking in today. And what we're going to do is we're going to save that, and then we're actually going to start back up tomorrow. But for a minute here, let me sell my goods. Over on Indiegogo, we got Skits, The Sun, Book 1. We're going to be dropping it in the spring. Go ahead and get over there and sign up on the email list. We'd really appreciate it. And if you like what you've been seeing today and yesterday and Thursday, we'll be live again and we'll put up some more of this stuff and we'll get a little further along in the drawing. If you like what you've been seeing, just sign up and get some special bonuses. You'll get a perk day of the launch where you can get the book a little bit cheaper. Also, there'll be goodies. We'll invite you to the goodie room for freebies. Everyone likes freebies, so I have something special there for people if you're on the mailing list. So come back and enjoy, and thanks a lot for being here today. Y'all have a good day. Thank you for everyone that came in the chat today. That was really kind. And hopefully we'll see some more next time. Bye.